deadly weapon, victim 60 years of age or older, guilty of first-degree murder with use of...
A guilty verdict and a life sentence handed down today for the former Las Vegas area politician accused of killing a journalist. Prosecutors say today's decision by the jury sends a strong message.
Any attempts to silence the media or to silence or intimidate a journalist will not be tolerated. That's what occurred in this case.
Strong reaction tonight in a murder case that's getting national attention. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Prosecutors say former county official Robert Tellez targeted an investigative reporter who wrote articles that were critical of him. He later lost his re-election bid. Tellez shook his head in court as the guilty verdict was read earlier today. He was convicted of killing Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter Jeff Gehrman in September of 2022. Gehrman was found stabbed to death outside of his home. His loved ones cried in the halls of the Las Vegas courthouse today after today's verdict. And when the penalty phase of the trial started immediately after the verdict was read, Gehrman's sister took the stand, saying the entire Las Vegas community suffers from the loss of her brother.
I never imagined that Jeff himself would have become a national headline news story for his murder by a cold-blooded elected city official in broad daylight. But in typical Jeff fashion, he was able to have his attacker identified and locked up behind bars after his own murder. Not only did my family lose a wonderful, loving brother and uncle, but the Las Vegas community and the world of journalism lost an amazing investigative reporter and a relentless crusader for justice.
Prosecutors in this case decided not to seek the death penalty. That means jurors had three options when it came to sentencing: 50 years in prison with eligibility for parole after 20 years, a life sentence with the eligibility of parole after 20 years, or life without the possibility of parole. And the jurors chose the second option. Tellez's wife also took the stand today, pleading for mercy.
Robert really is a great father, and he's a good husband. And I would love at some point to give my children the chance to have their father back.
The Las Vegas Review-Journal, where Gehrman worked, issued a statement on today's verdict that says in part, quote, Jeff was killed for doing the kind of work in which he took great pride. His reporting held an elected official accountable for bad behavior and empowered voters to choose someone else for the job. We got more perspective on today's developments in court from KTVU legal analyst Michael Cardoza. Michael, thank you for the time.
Certainly.
When you look at this decision the jury made, what evidence do you think persuaded the jurors that Robert Tellez committed this murder?
Well, certainly there was enough circumstantial evidence. That's evidence from which you have to draw an inference. For example, the victim had Tellez's DNA or skin under his fingernails. From that, the jury took an inference or drew an inference and said, you must have been there at the time of the murder. Then they found in his house a hat that was chopped up and other items that were chopped up that were seen at the scene of the crime, someone wearing it. All that circumstantial evidence led to the jury's conviction of him. But I'll tell you, the most important thing was when he took the stand. Mm-hmm. Jury listened to him for over 3 hours. And I can only imagine that his attorney told him, do not testify. And the key to that is he testified in the narrative. And that means he just got on the stand and told his story.
Why do you think his defense team took that risk?
Of putting him on?
Of putting him on.
Because he has the right to testify. Everybody that's accused of a crime has a constitutional right to testify. And in my opinion, he obviously told his attorneys, I am going to testify. Whether y'all like it or not, I'm testifying. So the attorney said to him, I would imagine, look, I'm not doing question and answer with you then. I am putting you up there. You tell the jury your story in a narrative form. And that's exactly what he did. And by the verdict, he didn't do very well at telling his story.
Yeah. KTVU legal analyst Michael Cardoza. Always good to have your insight.
Thank you, Alex.
And jurors in this case deliberated for nearly 12 hours over 3 days before reaching the verdict. We move on to another big story we're following, and tonight federal authorities say they have broken up an international crime ring operating all across the West. Several suspects were arrested earlier today in raids that unfolded across Southern California. As Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reports tonight, investigators say those suspects engaged in so-called burglary tourism.
Need you to get off the scene, sir.
The FBI conducted raids Wednesday at locations around Southern California, 2 locations in Van Nuys, and raids at homes in Northridge and Santa Clarita. The connection? All of the cars and this man, Juan Carlos Tola.
Tola Sr. was the organizer, the brains behind the group.
Investigators say the operation involved a rental car company called Driver Power Rentals that only rented to crime tourists, mostly from South American countries, including Chile.
Crime tourists would go to this car rental business. There they'd be provided with a vehicle. The defendants insisted that these crime tourists present them with false identifications. If you came to them with a legitimate ID, they would turn you away.
But that's not all. The feds say the defendants actually recruited the crime tourists, then instructed them where to go to commit the crimes. So far, 120 burglaries or thefts are connected to this group, and the feds say the losses are more than $35 million. One example, a burglary of a Menlo Park jewelry store, the crook stealing expensive watches and rings. The alleged conspiracy touched cities all across the country and included LA, Orange, and Ventura counties.
Since 2019, I'm proud to say that we have arrested over 130 suspects responsible for perpetrating these crimes, with a vast majority using vehicles from Driver Power Network.
The FBI says this diagram represents the operation, starting with the rental car company and ending with money laundering and profits going to Tola and the rest.
Once the crime tourists had gone across the country and stolen merchandise, money, credit cards, debit cards, they would send much of that back to the defendants. The defendants would then fence or sell that merchandise and take a percentage of the profits.
And that was Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reporting tonight. The defendants in this case are facing a variety of charges. The most serious are related to wire fraud and money laundering. Each count could lead to up to 20 years in prison. A 3-day hearing has wrapped up in Arizona, where Republicans accused of trying to overturn the results of the 2020 election are calling for those charges against them to be dismissed. 11 Republicans are charged with fraud for signing a document falsely claiming the state's electoral votes went to former President Trump. Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and attorney Rudy Giuliani are among the defendants here. The defense is arguing a new law passed in 2022 will exonerate them. It allows cases to be dismissed if defendants can prove the charges were substantially politically motivated.
Reeks with political vengeance and retribution. Reeks with it.
Attempts to frame these charges as politically motivated are not only baseless, but undermine the public's trust in the judicial process.
The state argues an independent grand jury indicted those defendants and that their actions were illegal. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance was in Pennsylvania today visiting the town of Erie as part of a tour of crucial swing states. The Ohio senator laid out his ticket's plans on the economy and energy, particularly criticizing electric car policies. Vance also criticized Democratic presidential candidate and current Vice President Kamala Harris, accusing her of copying their campaign strategies. And the Democratic ticket kicked off a 2-day bus tour today in Georgia. Both Vice President Harris and running mate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz addressed students in Hinesville about the significance of their campaign. They will continue their Georgia visit tomorrow, and they're also scheduled to sit down for their first joint interview. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, terrifying moments for a sheriff's deputy in Montana as a huge wildfire closes in. Tonight, the dash camera video showing his rush to get to safety.
And in weather, here's our live camera in Los Angeles. Looks like some low cloud cover in the picture. Our current temperature is 66 degrees. We'll have the updated forecast coming up.
It's digital footprint right there. So once it's on social media, it never goes away.
Also coming up tonight, business owners fed up with shoplifters are now turning to TikTok. See the posts they hope will deter crime. Newly released video shows a scary situation for a sheriff's deputy in Montana who was momentarily trapped by a huge wildfire. The silent footage posted to social media was captured last week by a dash camera on a Rosebud County sheriff's vehicle. The sergeant inside that vehicle was checking on campers east of Billings when flames started coming across the road. The sergeant put the vehicle in reverse in order to escape. The Remington fire has burned nearly 200,000 acres in Montana since it started last week with a lightning strike. The fire is about 50% contained with no injuries reported. Shoppers across the Portland area were met by picket lines today outside more than 24 grocery stores. As Fox 12's Carly Olson tells us, employees at Fred Meyer's stores have launched a strike that will last at least a week.
On the outside, a show of support.
Well, I showed up this morning to get some gas and I went, oh, must be something going on.
There were probably about at least a dozen, maybe 14 people walking by with signs.
But on the inside,
it seemed like there were less people in there, maybe less action today.
It was very low staff, not the regular people that I usually see check out.
Customers we spoke with, both on and off camera, tell us they were only able to enter the stores through the front entrance, and inside there were fewer checkout lanes open.
A few people that are refilling the shelves and stuff, but not a lot of checkers and just a lot less people in there right now. I think there's more people picketing than working.
When I went back to the meat department, the whole meat section was closed for the service back there. So, and I noticed that a lot of people were running around that were kind of rushed.
The grocery and meat department employees who make up part of UFCW Local 555 will be out on the sidewalks and in front of stores through Tuesday, after filing a couple of unfair labor practice charges against Fred Meyer. They say the company claimed to be offering more funds for employee pensions, but that was never offered at the bargaining table. And they say the company has also failed to pay their currently required pension contributions.
It's called direct dealing. You are not allowed to directly deal with the membership. You have to deal with the union as a whole. So the employer said that there is increase in retirement, and they want to invest in and increase retirement for our membership. But no such proposals have been made at the bargaining table. With no such proposal at the bargaining table, they can't make that claim.
Union members weren't allowed to speak to us on camera, but customers we spoke with say they hope it wraps up quickly, not just for the store operations, but for the employees.
One woman I talked to who worked in the floral, she was working a 12-hour day. So
wow.
It's, you know, it's affecting them, no question about it.
I just kind of went about my way, you know, trying not to pick sides, just letting them do their thing. You know, it's just, you know, part of the negotiation process and, you know, let the chips fall where they may.
And that was Fox 12's Carly Olson reporting tonight. Fred Meyer representatives say they respect the employees' right to collectively bargain. The union is looking forward to negotiations resuming tomorrow. United Airlines flight attendants are preparing for a possible strike. Here is a live look tonight at the activity on the tarmac at Boise International Airport. This is just one of the airports here in the West where United operates. Flight attendants have overwhelmingly voted to authorize a walkout. The results were announced earlier today, while flight attendants held informational picket lines at 20 airports across the country. This move comes after continued frustrations and ongoing negotiations with United Airlines. The flight attendants are demanding a double-digit pay increase, schedule flexibility, and more. United issued a statement on the labor dispute today, saying in part that the airline continues to work toward an industry-leading agreement for our flight attendants. A strike date has not yet been set, but if one were to take place, it would happen after a 30-day cooling-off mediation period. Turning now to talk about our weather here, and wet weather made a comeback in some parts of the Southwest today. These images captured south of Albuquerque, New Mexico, showing light rain, keeping the middle part of that state soggy this afternoon. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who can tell us whether there's any more rain in the forecast across the West. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, at least for this portion of the West, we could still be talking about some rainfall. This is the satellite and the radar in New Mexico over the past few hours. As you can see, those cloud bands, the rain showers coming on board. In fact, one report of a flash flood from earlier this afternoon. As you can see, water flowing underneath some mobile homes. So, yeah, reports of some downpours for that portion of New Mexico. As we show you the broader view here, there's one system moving out of the Pacific Northwest, this circulation here. But for the most part, we're just talking about some high clouds and some lower clouds and fog near portions of the coastline. This was Seattle today. We had some raindrops to report yesterday, at least early in the day, but some clearing skies today, 70 degrees in Seattle. And as you can see in San Francisco, some patchy fog there, 68 degrees, so a bit cooler compared to yesterday. And then this was Phoenix with some scattered high clouds out there. Temperatures still hot, 105 degrees. Phoenix has cooled off to 97. Las Vegas right now is 98. Portland in the upper 70s. And here's kind of the game plan for tomorrow. Clearing skies for Seattle. For San Francisco, some areas of fog in the morning, partly sunny into the afternoon hours. And it's upper 70s to the lower 80s in Los Angeles for your Thursday forecast. A few more cities for tomorrow. As you can see, Olympia 82. San Jose in the Bay Area down to 85 degrees. So the Bay Area has been cooling off. Down in Southern California, Palmdale, 99 degrees, and Scottsdale, as you can see, and also Tucson, triple-digit heat for tomorrow. In terms of the cloud cover and the rain showers, you can see once again out toward New Mexico. We could be talking about some raindrops and the chance of some showers for portions of Arizona. And then we still have the low clouds and fog kind of banked up near the California coastline. So as you can see over the next 3 days, lots of sunshine for Seattle, San Francisco, some fog in the morning. And then for Southern California, some patchy fog in the morning, clearing out to a warm afternoon. And the triple-digit heat continues, as you would expect, out toward the Phoenix area. 108, 109, 108 degrees. There's still some heat and still some sunshine, as you can see, up in the Pacific Northwest, Alex.
All right, Mark, thank you. A small business in the San Francisco Bay Area is taking a stand against shoplifters by posting surveillance video of them on TikTok. Some of their videos have had millions of views online. KTVU's Henry Lee talked with the business owners about why they decided to put those shoplifters on social media.
So most they hide it and then they just walk away acting that nobody's going to find out.
Fed up with five-finger discounts, Edwin Ramirez and his mother decided to make sure the whole world finds out about thieves at Liss Cosmetics, their store in Concord's Sun Valley Mall. They're posting surveillance videos of shoplifting suspects on TikTok. Some of their posts have had millions of views.
That's digital footprint right there. So once it's on social media, it never goes away. And at the end of the day, it's unfortunate that we have to do this to protect ourselves.
TikTok definitely has more, a lot of traffic of people, all the people's watching TikToks, and some little thing it could go viral.
But they're not sending these viral videos of lipstick or lash lifters to Concord cops.
There's no reason to call them and waste their time, but at the same time, it's not fair for us as business owners.
Instead, Ramirez hopes the videos discourage thieves, especially if they're recognized.
People are reaching out to me saying, hey, we know these people, or this person went to my school.
Shoppers are greeted by this sign warning them that thefts will be posted on TikTok. Ramirez says the sign itself has been a deterrent.
They see it, they get alerted, and then they just walk around and then exit immediately.
The sign has also been targeted by thieves. This video shows a group of teens at the store, and one of them steals the sign. As page views go up, thefts have gone down. It used to be once a day or every other day.
Now, I'm happy to say like once every other week or once a month.
So the message is clear. You might not get caught stealing, but you might get caught on video for millions to see. In Concord, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And we should point out KTVU made the decision to blur the faces of those alleged shoplifters in the videos, since it's not clear if police are actually investigating those thefts. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, Marilyn on the move. Tonight, what led to a settlement in the legal fight over a giant statue of the Hollywood icon. Plus, construction workers turn into lifesavers in Oregon. See how they got a baby deer out of a tight spot. A larger-than-life statue of Marilyn Monroe will be getting a new home. The city of Palm Springs has settled a lawsuit over the tribute to the actress. Fox's Gavin Wynn shows us what led the two sides in this legal battle to an agreement.
This is my first time getting to see Marilyn. We actually drove by and I was like, we have to pull over. I need a photo with her.
I've been to Palm Springs many, many times. So sometimes I forget that it's there. And then all of a sudden you turn a corner and then you see this big giant Marilyn.
Downtown Palm Springs' Forever Marilyn statue is drawing the same reaction as the late movie star herself.
Tourists from Orange County, New York, and even as far as Poland giving their opinions. This after a 3-year legal battle to move her a few dozen feet came to a close. For Palm Springs Mayor Jeffrey Bernstein, he's glad the city can move on.
I am pleased that the city will not have to spend more funds and time on this. I just wish it had been in a manner that was less divisive to our community.
The mayor says the city will be paying $350,000 as a part of a settlement with the Committee to Relocate Maryland, the group that sued the city over the statue. That doesn't include the time and effort spent by city staff, too.
I think that's really what drove the settlement agreement, is that the city did not want to keep spending public funds.
As for the relocation, the city won't be paying. Since the statue is owned by PS Resorts, a nonprofit that promotes tourism in Palm Springs, they'll be the ones to pay for the move. The area marked in green on this map is where the statue will be moved to.
The fact is that the statue will still be in central downtown. It will be a highly visible location. It still will, the tourists will be able to get pictures and come downtown and see it and enjoy it.
Tourists are split on if this is a good decision or not. Some agree with the mayor.
I feel like it won't matter. Like, people will look out for her, do a Google search, for it. So I think it's awesome that you get to see it right off this road. Like, you could just see it, but it's also it's not that far.
But others don't like the move.
I feel that Marilyn pulls people in, and if she's moved over there, you won't see her as much. And I think she's an icon that deserves to be shown.
The mayor said in a statement the statue should be moved by March 1st of next year. Before then, tourists and locals alike are taking all the pictures they want before that move is complete.
And that was Fox's Gavin Wynn reporting for us tonight. The mayor of Palm Springs also says Museum Way, where Marilyn currently stands, is going to remain a pedestrian-only street. Finally tonight, rescuers in Oregon worked together today to free a trapped baby deer. This all happened in Lake Oswego, about 15 minutes south of Portland. Rescuers say construction workers spotted that baby deer trapped in a window well, and they called for help. The deer had fallen from ground level down to the basement, about 15 feet or so. Firefighters rescued it by going through the basement of the home. That deer is okay, and as you can see right there, the deer ran off once it was freed. Nice job by those rescuers and those construction workers as well. All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight, and we appreciate you watching as always. A reminder before we go, you can stay up to date on all of the big stories we're covering across the West Coast by heading to our website. It's westcoastwrap.com, and you can also stream our shows right there on your smart TV. All you have to do is download the free Fox Local app. Hope you have a great rest of your night.